Hi, third graders. So we are now on our lesson 3, creating scaled bar graphs. Here, there's a bar graph shown, and the title is Liters of Water Skylar Uses. So we have 4 weeks, and down below you have the number of liters from 0 to 70. Let's look at number or letter A question. During which week does Skylar use the most water and the least? So let's go back to our bar graph. For week 1, I see that it's in the middle of 50 and 60. And so that is 10, 10, 10. So that's the scale. If you like, you can skip count by 10 and then plus 5. It will be equal to 55. Week 2, we have an exact, and it's on the 50. So that's 50 liters. Week 3, exact also, that's 40 liters. And week 4, we have a half, which is in between 60 and 70. So that's 65. So now we can answer the question. What's the most water? What week? That's 65, so it's week 4. And look at the least. The least is actually 40, so that is week 3. Now let's move on to the second question. How many more liters does Skylar use in week 4 than week 2? So when you say how many more, you know, boys and girls, that we are comparing two things. Week 4 here, 65, and week 3, week 2, which is 50. So to look at the difference between the two, we are comparing them, we will subtract. Okay, so we have the tape diagram for 65, as you can see, is longer than 50. And whatever the difference is, we can get that by subtracting 65 minus 50, which is equal to 15 liters of water. Okay. So it has 15 liters more. Now, we need to write a number sentence to show how many liters of water Skylar used during week 2 and 3 combined. That means we are adding week 2 and 3. So we write 50 plus 40 is equal to 90 liters. And then how many liters does Skylar use in total? So that means we're going to add all the weeks. So that's 4 numbers to add. 55 plus 50 plus 40 plus 65. It's easier if you add 2 numbers at a time. So that's 105 for week 1 and 2. And of course, we also add the next week. That's plus 40. And then the next week plus 65, and so we ended up having 210 liters for the whole month. Okay, so for the last question, it says if Skylar uses 60 liters in each of the 4 weeks in next month, will she use more or less than she uses this month? Show your work. So what I'm going to do is I will write week 1 through week 4 and write 60 liters in each, since it's 60 liters in each of the 4 weeks. And then I just added 60 and 60, that's 120, and another 120 equals 240. Is it more or less? It is, of course, more, because 240 is greater than 210. So it's more than. Alright, I hope, boys and girls, this is clear. If you have any questions, just ask me. And now let's move on to the next problem. Maria counts the coins in her piggy bank and records the result in the tally chart below. Use the tally marks to find the total number of each coin. The title is Coins in Maria's Piggy Bank, and we have 4 types of coins: penny, nickel, dime, quarter. Now, to count the tally, as you can see, they bundled 5 to easily skip count by 5. And what I'm doing is I'm counting 10, so I can just make 50 easily and then add the remaining to it. So that's 50 plus 15 is 65 plus 3 is 68. So that's how I count by 5s and then the remaining. So now here I can see that I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 50 plus 10 is 60 plus 2 is 62. All right, for the dime, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and so that is 50 plus 7, that's 57 for dime. And of course, for the quarters, we have 24. All right, now let's go to the next question. It says, use the tally chart to complete the bar graph below. The scale is given. So the scale is basically how much or what's the value of each block. Here it's 10, that's why I'm skip counting by 10 all the way up to 80. Now, let's graph. For penny, we have 68, and so I will use 60 blocks and then add 8 on top of it. It's close to 70, so that's an approximate. And then, of course, don't forget to shade in your bar graph. We do this when we graph our scores. Remember, boys and girls? All right, for nickel, we have 62, so that is 60 plus 2, and that's why it looks like this. And then shade it in. Next would be dime. For dime, we have 57. So that's 50 and then 7, and that's almost close to 60. So be careful on counting and make sure you follow your scale. Now, the last one is quarters, 24. It's 20 and then 4. And oops, of course, it's the wrong spot. Okay, let me erase this and then move it to on top of the word quarter. All right, it's 24. There we go, 20 plus 4. It's almost the middle of it because you know the middle of 20 and 30 is 25. So let's just darken all the bars in this graph, and then we are ready to answer letter B. How many more pennies are there than dimes? So comparing pennies and dimes, we have 68 and 57. So just like what I said, when we are comparing, it's most likely the question is how many more. We can draw our tape diagram for pennies and for dime. So penny 68, and of course dime we have 57. Now whatever the difference is, we can get that by subtracting 68 minus 57, which is equal to 11. So that's 11 more. The answer is 11 more. Now Maria donated 10 each type of coin, and then for each, and how many. The question is how many is left. So what I'm doing is I'm just rewriting all the different types of coins from penny to dime, quarter, and nickel, and then basically I am just subtracting 10 for each. So it's going to be 68 minus 10, 62 minus 10, 57 minus 10, and 24 minus 10. This is pretty easy because you're just subtracting 10. The answer is 58 pennies, 52 nickels, 47 dimes, and 14 quarters. And so that's it, boys and girls. See you later.